This is Kristoph Yelloc.
This is Just Janet.
And this is Kdot Colley.
And this is
the Just Nuggets Podcast.
We have a lot in store from you, and I guess I just want to start it off by saying my name is Kristoph Yelloc, Kristoph for short. My co-hosts are my brother.
Oh, how's it going, everybody? This is Kdot Colley, Kyle for short, and I'm excited to talk some Nuggets with you. We're also here with our lovely mother, as well as a lifelong Nuggets fan, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes, these are my sons, Kristoph and Kdot, and I am Just Janet.
Keep it simple. We're excited to talk Nuggets. It's the first day of the NBA season, and we're excited to, just bring in a new show. We're excited to talk Nuggets basketball. Weekly podcast and just continue to bring our excitement, our fandom, and talk to Nuggets fans, talk Nuggets basketball, and we're excited for this season.
Yeah, this is the Just Nuggets podcast. I mean, from my perspective, I would like to pre-frame it by saying if I say anything mean about a player, I mean it in the whole heart of if I say they're trash, they're sorry, they're not good, I compare them to someone in the NBA. It's not me. It's not the janitor down the street or the person you play pickup with. It is literally your contemporary. So if that comes off rude or whatever, just know that I'm comparing you to someone who's also at the level of play that you're in. That's it. That's all. Let's get into it. We are Nuggets fans through and through. It has its ups and its downs, but trust me, we're in an up era right now, and the sky's the limit when you really look at what is going on here. And we really are excited about this season for two reasons, not only, but two very big reasons. And one of them is Jamal Murray, and the other is Michael Porter Jr. Yep. Let's riff.
And while we're at it, let me just say the episode 1 is called Championship for a reason, because this is Kyle, and I'm on record saying
Kdot
and on the mic, and this is Kyle as well. Either one you want to call me, but I'm on the record saying that the Nuggets are going to win the championship this year.
Yeah.
And that's not coming from a fandom, but I also, if you really
it's a little bit of fandom.
I guess, yeah, of course, there's going to be bias, but if you look down the roster, we can kind of go into this, like when we're talking about preseason. We have Jamal Murray coming back, which is huge. We have Michael Porter, who played all 5 preseason games, which is really important. And then we have the 2-time MVP and Yelloc coming back. Yeah. And I think that allows us to compete at a high level, not to mention some of the people we brought in with like Bruce Brown. Bones is taking another step forward. And we have KCP. KCP.
Let me back up a little bit. As this is a new podcast, this is episode 1, and from episode 1 into infinity, there will be a pretty substantial breakdown of how the show operates. So we have 3 segments. Segment 1 is this week's Nuggets. So this is what we'll kind of talk about, what's going on in Nuggets world, the Nuggets land, what's happening at Ball Arena, what's happening outside of it, and all things Nuggets. Mm-hmm. Segment 2 is not Nuggets. Obviously, it's a very big league. There's 20 other 9 teams / international play and whatever else there is outside that all revolves around basketball, and it's not Nuggets. So that's what segment 2 will be about. And our final segment is called 2 Minutes Remaining.
2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes remaining.
If you've ever been to a Pepsi Center, we're that type of Nuggets fans. McNichols Arena, or even Ball Arena now. I know Ball Company paid a lot of money to get the naming rights, but to us, it's still the Pepsi can, whatever it is. Ball Arena, if you've been there, you know with 2 minutes remaining, you hear that over the intercom, and you know the game is either in crunch time, lime time, or whatever it is, and the game is almost over. But in this opinion, and in this format, the show will be almost over. So we kind of started to get into it, but segment 1, let's get into this week's Nuggets. So, what can we expect this regular season? We start tonight. I believe we are at the Utah Jazz.
Yes.
Formidable, and throughout the years have been one of the
Nuggets rivals.
Right?
Yeah, big time. But they've had an off season.
They have. Gobert gone. Donovan Mitchell, gone.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So.
And Danny Ainge, obviously, he's playing for,
Yeah.
the French guy. What's Victor?
Oh, the owner?
No, the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're definitely in the sweet states for Wambayamba. They're they're early candidate for
And they're really
first overall pick.
and they're really not like hiding it either.
And being Nuggets fans, I can say with clarity, I do not care that the Jazz are bad this year. We've had our runs with them in the bubble, going to Game 7, coming back from a 3-1 lead.
Well, we drafted their team,
as you know, Donovan was drafted by the Nuggets. Gobert was drafted by the Nuggets. We traded them on draft day, but that is our team. That is our honestly. Now that Tim Connelly's gone, I can also say he drafted half of the Northwest as well. So I mean, it's good to see that we're kind of moving into a championship.
And going back to the Jazz, then made the trade to get Rudy Gobert. So he just loves trading in division.
He does love trading in division.
So hopefully that's good for us Nuggets fan because
Anthony
we
Edwards
look forward to
Anthony Edwards in a few years.
Yeah, maybe a pick here or something maybe Cat.
D'Angelo Russell. I'm cool with any of those guys.
You guys would get me excited for the game tonight. So
okay. So what do you expect? What do you expect from the Nuggets' first real game of the season?
The first real game? I think they should win it. I think they will win it. I think that I'm going to love to see Jamal and MPJ out there with everyone and to see how the rotations are and how the game goes, the flow of the game. And, I really hope, this may not happen, that Joker doesn't play too much because he played all summer. And so, he has not a lot to prove, but I think he has a lot of help now. So
I don't know if I necessarily want to see Joker play that much. I don't know if I want to see Jamal play that much or Michael Porter.
What is too much? Is it 25 minutes?
That's a lot.
Joker 20. I'd say 25 for Joker is completely fine. I'd say 25 for Jamal and Michael Porter is pushing it.
Yeah,
especially in a game 1.
You win or lose this game, it's not going to matter. I think you gotta play him, but you also want to win. So if it comes to crunch time, we all know Mike Malone has his how should I phrase this? His ways of substituting teams his players in. So if we have the patented Malone, he comes in at the 8-minute mark. I'm cool with that.
But to go into the preseason, I thought I saw a lot from the bench. And I think you can have the bench come in and play meaningful minutes long term.
Yeah.
I think Bruce Brown can play you 20 minutes today and take some of those Jamal Murrays. I think you can have Bones play and take some of those Jamal Murray minutes. And you can have some people from the bench as well as even if we see Christian Brown playing a little bit. I think you have people that can play. Peyton Watson can play.
Yeah.
We'll see. Aaron Gordon can play longer minutes too. I think there's other people that can take some of those minutes, take that load off of them.
I don't have a whole lot of intel on Utah. I don't know how they're going to look, but we'll get a good sense of who they are.
They have Malik Beasley, former Nugget.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're well coached, even though this is their coach's debut. Yeah. I just think Utah's just a team that historically, it doesn't matter if their jerseys were that baby blue or the new Jazz note or whatever they got going on now. They just historically have played the Nuggets tough.
Yeah.
So, coming in the first game, it's up in the air. I don't know the spread tonight, but I see the Nuggets winning. If that's by, a couple
a point of
10,
win. I don't whatever.
10, 12,
I will
1 point. I don't care. I know the Nuggets won't go 82-0. Don't expect them to. But this team has 50 wins written all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what you're predicting, 50 high. What do you think?
I don't know 50 high. I'm just saying 50. I might say 50 floor. To be honest with you,
it's gonna be there. It would be disappointing to me if they don't get 50.
50 wins.
50 wins.
So you think we're top? What would you? I know we're gonna win the championship. I'm talking about for a season that we're ramping up with our players. How many wins do you think the Nuggets get?
We're all the way to the playoffs, huh? I think that we need to stay above the line, and the line stay right there. We were at least last year and better, and so with 50 wins, that's going to put you up in the top.
Here, Colin, let me
I think there's 4 teams in the West that's going to be Golden State. It's going to be I hate to say it because people love to say it, but the Clippers will be there, and the Suns will be there as well. So it's really Minnesota, us, and Memphis and Dallas are kind of like those ones in there.
Let me throw something back at you.
Okay.
Would you say the Nuggets last season, without the pieces we mentioned, won 48 games?
Yeah.
Would you say that they're better today or going into the
Oh
season
no,
than
I
they were
think we're
last
easy.
year?
I think
They're
we.
better.
Would you say that they're 2 games better?
I would say
Absolutely.
easily we're a 50-something, 56, 57 win team this year.
And
Easy.
I would, yes, I think their floor is 50 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them winning. I don't want to be the high guy here.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them winning 60 games, but I'm a temper
I can
expectation.
see-
I'm a
the reason-
temper
the reason
Nuggets
I can-
Nation. I'm a degenerate Nuggets fan.
But I can say this. I
Just
can say
letting
this.
you guys know on episode
George-
1 this. But
George-
they could get 60, but I think they'll live
I don't think
between
you're wrong, and here's
60,
why.
55, 57 to 50. I think that's a reasonable. I can say that on wax. But if they get 60, you know you heard it first.
I think what George Karl even thinks this team's important too, because he had a tweet and he was talking about the team that his last season when he won Coach of the Year, 12-13.
Yeah.
They won 57 games if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And he shouted that team out specifically today on a tweet. And I really think the reason he said that is because I think this is the first team he thinks that can go to that 60 limit.
Did that tweet say, this is a team that looks like it wins 60 if I was a coach and I lose in the first round with them?
I think he would do well. I think I hate or love George Karl. I think he would win a lot of games with this team.
Oh,
I think he'd win a lot of games.
I think so.
Yeah,
in the regular season.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll let you go, Just Janet.
All right, no, Just Janet says that you know, if I was doing expectations, I'd put them right up there where you guys are talking about. But I want to temper it a little bit because, you know, I live in Denver and we've had the teams that had expectations.
You don't want us
and
to
I don't
let's
go there.
ride.
Yeah, I don't
want
want to do that.
I
So
understand.
we want to do our expectations at a reasonable. And so I think 50 to floor, and that's where I would expect them to minimally be. So.
Bringing it back to tonight, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But bringing it back to tonight starts with 1, right?
Starts with 1.
They're favored, obviously.
Sure.
And the spread is 7. So we weren't far off. I said 10, so 7 seems about right.
Yeah.
And if they're able to win by 1 point, 2 points
we're
without
happy.
Joker
I'm
playing
happy.
deep minutes tonight,
and all everybody come out healthy, we're good.
the national media won't pay attention to us until about.
No,
they're giving us some credit.
They're going to pay attention to us Friday night.
Yes, they will.
Yes.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Golden State.
But
at home.
What I was going to say is they won't pay attention to how deep we are. And I think that's going into like some of my takeaways from the preseason. And what really stood out to me was how deep this bench is. To be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
And a lot of those, specifically the last 3, I want to say the last 3 games. Let me double check. I got my handy dandy schedule up here. Yeah, the last 3 games. Yes, the last 3 games against the Warriors, Clippers, and Suns. When that third unit's out, and I'm not saying they're getting minutes in the regular season, but I'm just saying to their depth. When it was third string versus third string, Nuggets third string was whipping them. And their second string was holding serve with specifically the Clippers. They were holding serve with their first team.
They had the first
minus
team out
Kawhi,
there.
but they were holding court.
Yeah.
And I think that
Paul George was out there.
Yeah, oh, big time. Playoff P.
Playoff P's out there. You know
that's our guy. Yeah. But I just circle that. Circle that. Depth is good. As Nuggets fans know, every Nuggets fan listening to this, every Nuggets fan speaking here on this podcast knows, depth is a good thing for the Nuggets because things can change at one moment, you know, at the Chase Center, and 2 years later you're excited.
Well, there's something about going around doing our business and getting it done, and the national media does not have to be putting us on blast out there. And we just continue to win, and they look up, and we're sitting in first place.
And I would also say that's the other reason we started the podcast is because national media doesn't give Nuggets any. Maybe they will this year, of course, because we have Joker back, and we have our players all coming. It seems like it's coming together.
And Shaq picked us last night. So.
And I want to push back on that slightly because people said Shaq voted for us.
He did.
He did say the Nuggets, but he pre-framed it by saying Ernie asked.
Can you let the people know? And
I'm about to say Okay. Ernie asked them if Golden State doesn't win the West, who will win?
Okay.
Charles and Kenny both said the Clippers.
I would have said Memphis.
I would have said. I would spot Clippers 3 games over us, and I think the Nuggets could still get them if we're talking about a best of 7. But what Shaq ultimately said was this. Shaq ultimately said, he said, no, I don't think the Clippers. And it could have been his LA Lakers in them, but he said Nuggets. He said Nuggets.
He did.
I'll take the Nuggets over the Clippers.
I heard it. We're going to keep it.
And that's why I want to at least pre-frame it, because I don't know if he necessarily we're coming out the West. And that's what a lot of people on Twitter have been saying. Like I seen Swiper say it. I seen what's the girl? Wengie. She said it as well.
Kate.
But I think you have to also say that at the end of the day, Shaq did say he thinks the Nuggets are a formidable team to beat Golden State.
So, as long as they're still hesitant about picking us, and, we do have, some in our corner, I think that's a good thing. I just think staying off the radar is a good thing because then we just continue to do our jobs.
I think it's a great thing, too.
Get her done.
I'm not going to hold too much time on this point. I just don't understand the national media's fascination with the Los Angeles Clippers. I've seen it. I'm a Nuggets fan. We watched it in the bubble, and you could say the bubble, yeah, whatever. We've watched it not work consistently to this point, and they get John Wall, and then all of a sudden I think that's doing – we'll leave the Nuggets out of this. I think that's doing teams like Memphis a disservice. The teams like the Pelicans, I know that could be blasphemous to some, but the Pelicans play defense.
Oh, they're a great basketball team.
Now they got
Pelicans
Zion back.
Real basketball team.
I just think even Minnesota. Yeah. As much as I love the team in our division, I just think they're leapfrogging a few teams, or they're just staying in a high rank that I just don't think they haven't really shown that they deserve, other than on paper. Because on paper, obviously, you guys know Kawhi's one of my favorite players. So there's no disrespect. I love Steve Ballmer. Yeah.
No, they have
whatever.
A good team. They will see. But I don't want to go to I don't want to go way off because we have a section on this. But it's no different than when people say, well, what about the Nets?
I think we're entering into the second section of
same
so
thing.
we're in the not Nuggets. We're in the not Nuggets section.
We
right?
are.
We're talking about the NBA as a whole, right?
We are
and I think when we go into this Clippers conversation, Nuggets conversation, I think it's unfair that the media goes, "Hey, the Nuggets need to figure out if they're healthy, and then they can be in the conversation." But you have Kawhi coming off an injury. You have John Wall coming off injury.
Yeah.
Paul PG, he's sometimes injured, not injured as well. And I think they have 3 stars when on the court, obviously can play great basketball. But they're in the same situation as us if you're talking about a healthy team. If they're healthy, we'll see them in April. If not, they're going to have struggles too.
Yeah.
All right. So let's officially go into not Nuggets.
Not Nuggets.
So the NBA season, the 76th NBA season began last night. Yeah. And let's start with the second game.
Okay.
The Los Angeles Lakers were defeated by Golden State.
Yes,
Golden State obviously has been going through a lot, but it started, pretty ceremoniously with the banner being raised and the rings being given out. And Steph and LeBron now both have 4 championships. Sure. So I guess I'll pose this question. Were you more surprised that the Lakers didn't look great last night, or that the Warriors are back to, looking pretty normal after their infighting? I'll let you go with the JJs.
Wow. I think that I'm not surprised that the Lakers didn't look well last night. I would have been surprised if they looked better. AD and LeBron is who it is. And and then after that is not a drop off, but there's not type of talent on their team after that. Those two.
Well, Russ is good. But
Russ, yes.
Just Russ, that 3-man that 3-headed team. It doesn't seem like it's working.
Yeah.
And it should. And if you look at the scores,
I don't think it should. I think LeBron and Russ are both dominant they ball heavy basketball players. They need the ball in their hands to score. Yeah. Bron less because Bron can actually facilitate and help people score. Same with Russ. But when they're on the court together, it is literally just two cats that need the basketball, and they're trying to facilitate at the same moments. You sometimes need to space things out, and I think West either I think if West gets traded, I'm not saying I want it because I'm a big Russell Westbrook fan. Either he has to go to the second team or on a different type of lineup than LeBron, or they're gonna have to trade him because if he goes to the second team, he could be a 2010 and 5 guy for them all day long. But they have to be willing to sacrifice if the Lakers are gonna do that.
Well, Bron had 31.
Bron played well, and
8, 14,
and
80 at 27.
But it wasn't close.
No.
If you looked at the game, it was not.
Yeah,
close.
none of them had no one had a good plus minus.
Not
80s plus minus was minus 21. Bronze is plus 10. Minus 10.
Yeah.
So yes, obviously something's broken, and I've heard this point be thrown around today, so it's nothing new. But it is truly a two-headed monster in what the Lakers got going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm gonna say. I was more surprised that the Warriors looked good, but I shouldn't be surprised because they got championship pedigree.
Yeah,
and just a little bit of infighting and brotherly love,
Well,
brotherly colleague punch,
yeah.
was gonna stop them. Not when you have Steph Curry.
Yeah.
And
Well, the
Steve
interesting
Kerr.
thing was, we played the Golden State. Nuggets did preseason last game, and Steph was having a little trouble with his shot. Not that I think it's not going to come back. I don't want you to think that,
Of
but
course not.
it was got to come. And then he had a little trouble early on, till he hit that first one, and so and Clay's just consistent. I just love Clay, and so between them and then Poole and Green, Draymond, they're good. Okay,
Yeah.
so they'll get her. If they start slow, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah, they're the defending champs.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And it's funny, they got the greens now too. Remember, we had Uncle Jeff and J Mike. Now they got J Mike and Draymond.
They do.
They the new greens.
They the new greens.
I hope J Mike has so much success.
No, he
this
actually
season.
felt well with that. He
too.
fits well with that team. I
He
saw him.
did.
He has good minutes off the bench.
Yeah.
And because he's a scrappy defensive guy,
Right.
and I know he kind of, it's funny you say call him the greens. Him and Draymond can kind of operate in that same space. You don't need J Mike doing what he's kind of doing here and just like stand on the end, wing and shooting a three.
Yeah.
He can if he is able to get down in the block and bang and grab rebounds.
Yeah.
Kick it out to the shooters.
It's a
Whatever.
good
I
landing
mean,
space
create
for him.
space,
Great landing space.
set picks.
Yeah.
I like J Mike there.
Yeah.
I truly do. I think I thought he was a really good Nugget.
We'll see Friday. I mean, we know.
Yeah, I mean, I root for him all the games except for
Right,
the
except
Nuggets.
for the Nuggets,
but outside of that game, I think that's a good pickup for them.
So to answer your question, I wasn't surprised about the Lakers doing what they do.
I think the last point on this is just I think the Lakers season's gonna, and this is actually not my point, but a lot of people talk about it, so I'll just say it. I think this season for the Lakers is all about LeBron getting to Kareem. I don't like getting to that all time.
It's a pageant show for the Lakers.
No. So like Kobe, how he had his farewell tour.
Yeah.
LeBron's not at his farewell tour yet, but this is like that moment where you're gonna look back and say LeBron was chasing something.
Yeah,
and it wasn't necessarily they were chasing the championship this year, but he's chasing the all-time points.
I agree with you, and that's what makes.
As young people, at least I've never seen anybody get to that height.
That's what makes it sad for me, is because I saw a stat today. He's the oldest person to have scored 30 in a season opener.
Yeah,
he's gonna have all these oldest and break these records and stuff. But the dude's still playing at an all MVP, all NBA level.
NBA.
It's less of a pageant show and kind of a waste of a season if you don't build around and like
they can't. They
I know
traded
he's
all
a
their
freak.
picks away.
I know he's amazing. I get that, but
you trade all your picks away. You don't have any picks.
Jump sports,
you can't build.
But it's kind of like the Broncos. It doesn't look like it's gonna get any better. You know what I mean? And it's not. It's just kind of a sad state where they're in, and it's the Lakers, and
If
so
you watch
that
documentary about the Lakers, they play to win. Lakers is a franchise that plays to win, and sometimes when you play to win, you get your championship in the bubble, but now you're in that period of time where you have to rebuild. You have to trade assets.
They went all in,
and they won. They're good. Lakers, they don't have to prove anything this year. They have a window. They won a championship. They're the best player in the world, still may or less, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I'm smiling over here because I hope, I still wear my Beat LA shirt that I got.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
if they ever want to play us in the playoffs, I'd be glad to finally beat a more depleted Lakers. But
I like Russ, but
let's switch over to the other. Let's switch over to the East, right?
Uh-huh.
We saw Boston and we saw the 76ers. How good did the Boston Celtics look like last night? Do you think they're back? They're going to be back in the championship? Yeah, I think so too.
Oh yeah, I think.
Giannis.
I know.
Just picked up the phone.
Is in the, No, but you're asking us about this game.
All right, but he also said he could be in the championship, so I just wanted to say Giannis is on 9-1.
I think Boston got better though.
They got better.
That's the weird part about it. I think they got better.
And Jason Tatum did.
Tatum and
Jaylen Brown.
I think they got better. I think they have another year under their belt of playing the system that they know how to play.
I
think when you change the coach and they change coach, that system. They
didn't miss a step. They didn't miss a beat.
They did not miss a step.
I think you guys, they got better. Yes.
Yes, they did.
Yes. But the question was, will they get to the NBA Finals? And I know it's game 81. 81 more games to go. But Giannis and the Bucks, without Chris Middleton, we're up 3-2, having just won in Boston.
No, you're right.
Having to go back.
But I agree with everything you're saying.
I just don't. I think. I agree with you guys. I think Boston looked great last night. They did. They looked really good, and they beat Philly, who I don't think is going to be scrubs at it all. No. You know. But I also think the Bucks. They've done it. They have top 1 best player on the planet. Yeah. That's always going to help you come playoff time. And it's a long season, you know. Yeah. You never know what happens. There's so many things that can happen. But from game 1, last night at the Garden in Boston against the Philadelphia 76ers, they waxed them. Yeah. They looked absolutely
ready to go.
They looked ready to go.
Ready to go.
They look ready to go. If the playoffs started tomorrow, I would say yes. Yeah. But we've already said, it's a long season.
But on that side, we picked those 3, and just that everybody's saying Brooklyn. So, you know, we got to see. You know, Brooklyn, we got to see them play. Yeah. I got to see them play together. I think for longer than a few games.
I'm putting this on wax. We can. Remember in episode 1 when Chris said, I want some of those.
Sticky
Cleveland. I believe in you. I think in a 7-game series, let me hold this point before I go too over the cliff. But I'm just gonna say, Believeland. I'm looking at you.
Cleveland.
I'm looking at you. Donovan Mitchell, dog.
And I would say
they already had a core unit. They fell short in that little play-in.
No, true. That's true.
I think they improved. They're a team I would look at.
Exciting to watch.
I would say yesterday's price is not
Get
today.
League Pass.
I would say yesterday's price is not today's price. And I think Boston got better. And even though you say Giannis without Chris Middleton and all the other stuff you said,
it's true.
At the end of the day, I think Boston took a step forward. And we'll see.
We shall see.
And I think that is what the East is going to be between Boston, Brooklyn, Bucks, and Heat, and Cavs if they can make a run. I think those are the teams to watch in the East.
Nets are around 2, and
as I said, Brooklyn.
Yeah, and let's move on to our final segment of the day. I think that was a good stopping spot because there's only 2 games.
Minutes remaining.
2 minutes remaining.
Yeah.
Since we are Nuggets fans through and through, been Nuggets fans for a long time, north 30 years in some cases. There's been a lot of players throughout here. Yes, we have never been to NBA Finals. Yes, we've never been to a championship, but we have some legends of the game that have called Denver their team throughout time. So we'll do 2 different things. So we'll start with, everyone goes around, and we'll start with our all-time personal all-time favorite, starting Nuggets, starting 5s.
Okay.
So, who's starting at center throughout time? Power forward, small forward, shooting guard, and point guard. Who's that? And then the second thing we'll do is who is your personal all-time underrated Nuggets? And you'll have 5 of those as well.
That's tough.
Well, I'm just going to say this, and then I want you guys to go first, but I'm just going to say this. I don't like all time.
I know you don't. That's why we're putting you on spot.
First episode, you got to hit that button. I like favorite, because they have different tiers, or in my mind, of, not generational or whatever it is. You have, the early ones, and you have the middle ones, and you have the eras, I guess I should say. And then you have the current day, and you've got to mix them all together, and they were all good at. And so we'll do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'll
as Nuggets fans,
we play the game.
I'll play the game.
Play the game.
As Nuggets fans, we know that there was a dark period in time called the 1990s in our franchise history. So I'm pretty sure you're pulling from the 70s, 80s, 2000s, and 10s.
Okay, no.
Pretty much. Okay. Unless you want to throw in Nick Van Exel or Rafe LaFrance in there.
And let's go. Let's just go. Let's go straight into it. Let's
you guys go.
You want to start it?
I'll give my top 5.
Go for it.
I think it's pretty solid if you ask me. I have Jokic at number 1.
This is your starting 5.
You gotta have Nikola Jokic on number 1.
That's center.
You gotta have Jamal Murray, obviously.
Point.
My favorite Nugget, even Joker is making a huge case, but my favorite Nugget of all time is Carmelo. So I'm gonna go Carmelo at the 3. I'm gonna go Alex English. Now we're playing positionless basketball.
I was wondering
because I'm not trying to do positions because this is why I want the best on my team.
Yeah.
So I want Alex English on there, and I want David Thompson on there.
Okay.
The reason why is because David Thompson is gonna allow us to throw oops. I realize that the rest of that team might be more to the ground, but if we have David Thompson, we still have a aerial presence too. So I want David Thompson on there, and he was a great scorer. So we have nothing but scorers when it comes to Maul. Carmelo, Alex English. We're talking about 4 scorers and Joker. I just think that's hard to beat.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I just also want to point to the fact that you did say that too many ball handlers on the court for the Lakers, yet you have...
But you have Joker to spread it out. Jamal likes to pick and roll, and I seen Jamal get a pick and roll and throw it. And imagine he did a pick and roll and threw it to MPJ. Imagine you have a pick and roll and you throw it to Melo. Like it's just
I think
nice play.
if Jokic doesn't average 12 assists on your team, there's something drastically wrong because those are absolute scores, bona fide.
Yeah,
you got top 20 scores in English and Melo, and then you got Maul, who we all know what he can do, and then David Thompson, like you said, the aerial soul.
And I like that we can run the court, but also we can play slow down when we get to the playoffs.
And that takes me to my starting 5 because your starting 5. It's kind of good to be coached by like Doug Moe, where it's just like, we're winning games 150 to 147. You know what I mean? Yeah. So not much defense there. And mine's not much better either, but we'll say I got at center, I got my main man, the greatest Nugget of all time, Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, Joker.
Then this is going to make a lot of people upset. At my small forward is the second greatest Nugget of all time, Mr. Carmelo Anthony. Or at least he's my personal favorite.
Yeah, he's right there.
Power forward, a little bit different than yours, is Dan Issel. And I like Dan Issel, the horse. That's where that grit comes from. So you're gonna have to grit it out, especially when you have people who are playing fast and up and down the court. When you have to play half court basketball, I think Dan Issel's gonna get the rebound needed. He's gonna be that guy in there for you. And I like Dan Issel, very underrated, but he doesn't make my underrated list, not to bury the lead there. But small shooting guard, I got Alex English, the third best Nugget of all time, top 20 scorer of all time. Kids, if you're listening to this podcast, just Google his name.
Should have made a case for the NBA 75.
Absolutely, and if you really think about it, let's be honest here. He played in an era where he's kind of overshadowed by the Lakers and Celtics. You know what I mean? So he doesn't get the genuine respect he deserves. And then Clyde Drexler. He doesn't even get the scorer or Gervin. These guys are over him. But Alex English, I'm pretty sure you've seen the jerseys at the number 2 jerseys at Ball Arena or wherever it is. He was an absolute monster. And at point guard, I have the Canadian God, a.k.a. the Blue Mamba, Jamal Murray. I hope he's healthy this year. And that's all we can really wish, but he made my all-time starting 5. And I threw in David Thompson as my 6th man. I know it's not 5, but he would be my 6th man. Just Janet, go for it.
Just Janet, since I'm the mom, I'm going to have not 5, but 8.
Wow. Okay.
Because I can. And you can put them in whatever order, but of course Joker, I agree with you both. Carmelo, I agree with you. Yeah. Issel, of course I do. Alex English, Jamal, David Thompson, Iverson, and Chauncey Billups.
I was gonna put Allen Iverson.
If
I got a 6th man, I was gonna say Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say about Chauncey?
I can't. That's my
King
of Park Hill. I gotta have him on my team, and so him and Jamal, they can just do their thing. It'd be different type of play, but I love them.
Yeah, I like those additions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that Kyle's team is obviously coached by Doug Moe.
Yeah.
Yours is more of a Carl team.
No way. Carl doesn't want no parts of Carmelo and AI.
But the funny part is he got Carmelo and AI.
I know. That's true.
You got
I think
Carl,
he's tired
and my team is clearly coached by Mr. Mike Malone.
I think Mike Malone would appreciate it.
Well, then you know what? If we hit all the coaches and we got them. So.
Kyle could have had D'Antoni too. He was a Nuggets coach.
Yeah.
All right, but I'll start off the all-time underrated Nuggets players. And I'm going to start in ascending order. So I'm going to go 5 to who I think is the most underrated of all time. Mm-hmm. If you know me, number 1's pretty obvious. But we'll start with number 5, Bobby Jones. 1970s Denver Nugget. I know he gets a lot of love for being a defensive stopper and one of Dr. J's favorite teammates on the 80s and late 70s 76ers team. And he was a fantastic Sixer. Absolutely. I believe his jersey's retired there. If not, he's very well received and beloved in Philadelphia. But as a Nugget, he was one of those ABA transition into the NBA, and he's a lockdown defender, fast as all get out, great player. Number 4, I have Aaron Aflalo. Aaron Aflalo, not only was he a Nugget once, he was a Nugget twice. He came back
he did.
For one season.
Triple A.
Yes, and when I remember when they got him, it was right after they had gone to the Western Conference Finals and they lost to the Lakers in 6. And we got Aaron Aflalo because you saw the difference Trevor Ariza made.
Yeah.
And we needed someone on the wing defender to go along with Dante Jones, who can slow down. I'm not going to say stop, but slow down Mr. Kobe Bean Bryant.
Yes, he did.
And they went in and got Aaron Aflalo. And then when Melo left, and it was just left with Mozgov and whomever else came, Danilo and Wilson Chandler. When they all came back, Aaron Aflalo became like a centerpiece. And I think very underrated player.
Sure.
Number 3, the man himself, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. Sweet jump shot.
Yep.
Great Nuggets from the early 90s. I said it was a dark period in Nuggets basketball, but we did have him and Mutombo for a couple years there.
Mutombo.
Look into the activism side of what he did. Great on all ends there. Great on all ends. And he's a Big 3 champion, too. Shout out to Ice Cube and them. So shout out to my number 3. Number 2, Eduardo Eddie Nahara. If you want defense and scrappy,
you know you love
who wants to take a charge, play defense. He's not going to give you any buckets.
Oh, we know you love
He's going to give you no buckets.
This
but
man
guess what?
just said Nahara.
Yes. Eddie Nahara, number 21.
All right.
Great Denver Nuggets, in my opinion.
Yes,
I loved.
What's number 1? Where are you going with number 1? If you got Nahara 2, come on, go ahead.
Yes. Nahara 2 and the Vanilla Gorilla, Linus Kleza at 1.
No.
You cannot watch those teams,
that's true.
the Melo teams, and not appreciate what Linus Kleza was able to give you. That
gracious.
corner 3.
He said underrated.
Underrated?
Yes.
That man's properly rated. I love me some Linus. That's why you like him, the Vanilla Gorilla, because he was fun to watch.
Yeah, he was.
And he was fun to say his name.
Yeah.
But you're saying underrated?
Yeah.
Well, because,
I think we got different criteria. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Maybe we have
My
different
criteria is
you should have called that
a lot of this being 10 years old Nugget fan going to the Pepsi Center at that time and watching these players ball out. Or what I thought they were balling out.
They were.
But Linus Kleza was just at the 43, the corner jump shot.
You know what you should change that to? My favorite Nuggets. Let's go.
They wouldn't be my favorite. They make the list because they're not my favorite. They're underrated.
That's because
they're underrated.
No, I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
Well, okay.
I'll take the.
Mine are not in the order of yours. I'm just going to say their names because this Marcus Camby. Let me tell you, if Marcus Camby wasn't cleaning up that middle for all night, he was a baller.
And that mid-range jumper.
And he didn't get the credit he was supposed to. Oh, my God.
He
was not getting the credit he was due in there. So I agree with you with Bobby Jones.
Defensive Player of the Year, too.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with Bobby Jones with you. You know, I'm a can't say this too much, but I'm a 76ers because I grew up that way fan, and I know Bobby Jones well. So
that missed me. I was too young for Bobby Jones.
Yeah, really good guy. And then
up on YouTube, my
Dante Jones.
Dante Jones.
I'm a fan of Dante Jones.
Yeah, and you said
he was underrated.
He was underrated for his defensive skill. Maybe a lot of my team is defense, but Nene. I think Nene did us a solid to be here, and he was hurt. He had
drafted
issues.
By him.
He was, but I like Nene, and then Andre Miller.
Wow,
Andre Miller.
He got that old man game. That's like
when
you go to pick up basketball game.
I will tell you, when we used to go to see the games, and all we could do was look at Rocky. Okay, yeah. Andre Miller would show up every time, and he showed up when we went to the finals. The Western Conference Finals and showed up with Melo, and they were.
And he's a big guard though.
Yeah,
that's like you can't say that he wasn't a big guard.
And then I know that's 5, but I'm gonna have an honorable mention, and it's a current day.
It's your world we're living in.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon.
Thank you, Aaron, for coming.
That's
AG.
true.
Yeah, he gives us
true.
that power forward position
That's
that we
true. I can't
needed.
be
You know
wrong
what
with
And-
you're speaking that one into existence.
Okay.
You know, as I tapped into my 10-year-old self with mine,
Right.
you tapped into the moving forward with it, because I agree with that one, even though it was your sixth one.
Yeah.
Because in those 4 or 5 games after that trade was made,
Yeah. He was
Nuggets
rolling.
fans know the Nuggets were the best team in
Yeah,
basketball
they
for
were.
4 or 5 games, and then the injury happened, and
Yeah.
2 years later, now
Yeah.
we're here.
Yeah.
And if he can take that, where
Right.
we were and kind of pick up from
Yeah.
where they're going, plus the new additions, yes,
In the
he'll be very
preseason-
underrated
and then
very
in the
fast.
And in the preseason, I saw him trying to. He knew he felt comfortable. He looked comfortable.
Yeah.
He looked like he knew what he wanted.
Because he has
to
his
be
role again.
on the court and everything. So yeah, his role is there. So I think he's gonna be a good.
His
year for
role,
us. Good year for
the
us.
Magic fans realized it, and now Nuggets fans realize it too. Aaron Gordon is not your number 2 or number 1 scorer. You don't want him to
you
be
want him
that.
to do everything
Yes,
else.
you want him to do everything
You
else.
want him to steal the ball. You want him to
Yes.
be in the position.
Play
yeah,
defense, get rebounds, get a dunk.
Yeah, get a dunk.
Don't. He's not gonna get you 25. That's just not.
We've seen him do it.
He can,
We've seen him
but
do it.
consistently. We've
Yeah.
seen him not do it consistently
Yes,
too.
but yeah,
And trust me, Aaron AG's the dog.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it, and I'm happy that the other dogs are back,
Mhm.
so he can settle into his role,
Right.
and the Nuggets will be better for it. So
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yep.
Well, okay. So mine, you all went down the fanfare route. I went by like underrated in a certain, like when you said the
Okay.
word underrated, I really took that serious, right?
Okay. All right.
So my 5, and I didn't say money. Many of the ones you all said I didn't say it, right?
Okay.
At 5, most underrated, I got J.R. Smith, and here's why.
Yeah, you were.
Because J.R. always, he had those moments of being J.R., kind of like Will Barton.
Yeah.
But J.R. also, you got to remember. Here's why I say he was underrated. Here's why I gotta say underrated for J.R. If I didn't realize this till last year, J.R. was the all-time leading scorer, 3-point shooter on the Nuggets.
He
And I
remember
tell
that
you
one
what, I-
game. That one game.
I think when you don't really think about it,
Yeah.
but he was the all-time scorer. I think that really shows him being underrated
Not
for his
Deshaun
value.
Leonard.
He beat Rashawn Leonard.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. And at 4, you guys already talked about him, so I'll keep it short. Is Aaron to follow?
Yeah.
I think he just obviously has definitely was an important part.
Yeah.
Here's one that you guys didn't say, and no, he hasn't got any shine on this podcast of yet. Kenyon Martin.
Yeah.
And the reason why I said Kenyon Martin is because you got to remember the time period.
Yep.
That trade was the first time the Nuggets had a trade, and at least when I started watching,
Yes.
that made a difference
It
to
did.
that team. It was Melo by himself as the only person that was really scoring.
So
And you
therein
bring in
lies
Kenyon
that
Martin.
comparison to Kenyon Martin and
And
Aaron
AG.
Gordon,
And,
AG.
and I think and Kenyon Martin was
Yes,
it
for the
was
team.
it was a real moment
I
for it.
agree. Yes.
And then at number 2, and this I probably could have switched Kenyon and this guy, but Nick Van Exel. And I say during that time of the Nuggets, we weren't a really good basketball team. But Nick Van Exel, McDyess were like important
McDyess,
parts.
absolutely.
To winning 17
To winning
games.
17
No,
games, but selling tickets.
But
They
selling
were
tickets
selling
and keeping
tickets.
season ticket
Holders
holders like us,
happy.
like being
I
at
think
the time.
They made a young Nuggets fan like
yeah.
me.
Nuggets
My
fan.
Yes.
my
They
earliest memories.
moved.
At
They were
Nuggets
the
games.
generation right before Melo, and that
Yeah.
became I think they laid the
The
foundation
foundation, yes, of
for
course.
the next one.
Okay.
And that's why I said
I'll let it
Nick
live.
Van Exel. He's the best player on a really bad
Yeah,
team
no
to
good.
me.
No good.
And-
Nick the Quick.
And again, my last one, and
Yeah.
I'm saying this because he was snubbed from the 75 team, is Alex English. How is he not on the 75 team?
I don't know.
How is he not respected?
No.
In the 80s, I think he was he the leading scorer of
Yeah.
in the whole decade?
Yeah.
I feel like him not being on the 75 team.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, because I'm a big Dame Lillard fan, James
Yeah,
Harden
all
fan.
of them.
I feel like those dudes would have made it on the 100. I
Yeah.
don't think Alex English is going to make it now because people, like when I say it, like he might not make it to the NBA 100 now. Because the further you go along in
Is
history,
there someone who's not born yet?
That'd
that's
be
going to
sad.
take their spot. I think that as the further you get along, it's kind of like with we're switching sports, but Drew Pierce. I think the longer, even though he made it to Hall of Fame, it's like the longer you wait on some of these people, sometimes they
Randy
just get lost in
Gradishar.
history.
Yeah, Randy Gradishar.
Yeah, they lose out in history.
Well,
so I think
let's
Alex
hope
English probably
not.
is the most
Let's hope
underrated.
And I'll give you that one, Kyle. I'll bring it back because even when I said when I was going through my starting 5, I said the best Nugget, Jokic.
Yeah.
The second best, in my opinion, Carmelo
Yeah.
Anthony. And the third best is Alex English. But if you look at what Alex English did in his time period as a Nugget, it's pretty
Awesome.
close to the top. It's
Awesome.
truly the
Yeah.
top.
Outside of Jokic,
Yeah.
who's a 2-time MVP.
Yeah.
But
Well-
but Alex English is right there
Mhm.
and fantastic scorer.
Yep.
Great guy. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
I can't say anything more than that, but I will say this. thank you all for spending this time with us to listen to episode 1.
And we enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it.
Hope you
We'll
do.
be back next week to discuss what has just occurred over the last week in the NBA and, of course, in Nuggets Nation.
Oh, yeah.
So I will close by saying thank you for listening, and go Nuggets.
And basketball's back.
Oh, yeah.